She didn't slam a door. She didn't send a long text. She didn't cry in front of you or give you an ultimatum or say a single word that would have let you fix it. She just quietly rewrote the story. She rehearsed the breakup in the shower. She mourned you during her commute. She mentally packed her things while you were sitting 3 feet away, completely unbothered, completely unaware. And by the time she actually left, or by the time you felt her go cold, the decision was ancient history to her. You never saw it coming, because she never showed you it was coming, because she was waiting for something she never once asked you for out loud. And that gap between what she desperately needed and what she could never bring herself to say, that is what I'm about to hand you. All of it. No filter. I'll be honest with you. I sat with this video for a long time before I made it. Not because the subject makes me uncomfortable. It doesn't. But because what I'm about to tell you breaks something. An unspoken agreement between women. The kind that doesn't get written down because it doesn't need to be. We all just know. So understand what you're receiving here. Researchers at the University of Texas ran a multi-year study on communication patterns in romantic relationships. What they found should make every man watching this go completely still. 72% of women admitted to wanting specific behaviors from their partners, behaviors they had never once, not a single time, verbally requested, not because they forgot, not because it wasn't important enough, because they believed, genuinely believed, that having to ask would hollow out the meaning entirely. She would rather go without the thing she's starving for than explain to you why she's hungry. That's not a flaw. That's not stubbornness. That is wiring, deep and old and completely invisible to most men. And if you don't understand that wiring, you will keep losing women who are fully, completely in love with you. And every single time, you will have no idea why. Now, I called this video what I called it for a reason, but probably not the reason you assumed when you clicked. Some of what I'm about to share is physically intimate, yes, but most of it is dirty in a different, quieter way. These are the desires she buries because the world taught her that wanting them makes her too much, too needy, too old-fashioned, too intense. So she folds them up, locks them somewhere deep, and hopes, genuinely hopes, that you'll somehow find your way to them on your own. Today, you find your way. One warning before we start. Number 3 on this list is the one that ends relationships. Not loudly, not dramatically. It just erodes things. Slowly, silently. Until one morning she wakes up and realizes the feeling is gone, and she can't remember exactly when it left. I've watched it happen to people who loved each other. Pay close attention when we get there. Number 7, walk over and interrupt her spiral without saying a word. You've seen this. You know this moment. She's not present. Something is running behind her eyes. Work, her mother. Something a friend said last Tuesday that she's been quietly dissecting ever since. Her shoulders are carrying weight that wasn't there this morning. She's on her phone, but she's not reading anything. She's somewhere else entirely, and wherever that place is, it's not good. Your instinct, if you're like most men, is to fix it. You ask what's wrong. You start troubleshooting. Have you tried talking to him? Maybe just ignore the text. Here's what I would do. And from a purely logical standpoint, problem identified, solution offered, case closed, reasonable. But that's not what she wants. And she will suffer in silence for days before she'll ask you for what she actually needs. She wants you to walk over without saying anything. Take her face in both hands, press your lips to her forehead, or pull her into your chest and just stay there. No words, no advice, no agenda. Just your body communicating the one thing words keep failing to deliver. I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. You can fall apart for exactly this long because I've got you. Dr. Tiffany Field, who founded the Touch Research Institute at the University of Miami and has spent decades studying this, found that physical touch reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, by up to 31% within minutes. But the data can't capture what that moment actually feels like to her. It's not stress relief, it's proof. Proof that she is not alone inside whatever she's carrying. She won't ask for this because asking for comfort feels, to most women, like confessing weakness. She's been holding things together her whole life. Requesting to be held feels like a formal surrender of the self-sufficiency she's worked hard to maintain. So she spirals alone. And somewhere underneath the spiral, she quietly resents that you didn't notice. You don't have to read her mind. You have to read her body, tense shoulders, gone quiet, scrolling without seeing. That's your signal. Don't ask. Don't speak. Just close the distance and become the thing her nervous system has been begging for since before she even recognized the need. Number 6. Say her name. Actually say it. There is something that happens neurologically when you hear your own name spoken by someone you're drawn to. A study published in the journal Brain Research found that hearing your name activates regions of the left hemisphere tied specifically to self-representation and identity. Your name is the one word in the entire language that your brain has claimed as fundamentally, exclusively yours. Now put that inside intimacy. Not only in the obvious moments, though yes, absolutely there too, but in the quiet ones. You're in the kitchen and before you ask her to hand you something, you say her name first. You're walking ahead of her and you call her name just to make her turn around because you wanted to see her face. You're telling a story to friends and you refer to her by name. Not she, not my girlfriend, her actual name, like she's a specific, irreplaceable person in your narrative. Because she is. Most men default to babe, baby, hun. Those are warm. They're familiar. But they're also interchangeable. Every woman he's ever been with was probably babe at some point. Her name, though, that's only ever been hers. When you use it in a charged moment, a whisper, a confession, a serious conversation where you stop mid-sentence and say her actual name before you say the thing that matters, it creates a response that no pet name has ever come close to replicating. She'll feel seen in a way she can't quite explain even to herself. She'll never ask you to use her name more often. The moment it becomes a request, the power evaporates. What makes it electric is that it feels involuntary. Like you're so focused on her specifically that her name is simply the word your brain reaches for without thinking. That instinctive quality is the whole thing. Protect it by making it real. Number 5. When another man notices her, don't perform. Just be present. This one requires precision, so I'm going to be exact. She does not want you to cause a scene. She does not want aggression or possessiveness that makes her feel like property. That's not protection. That's a liability she has to manage on top of everything else. But she also doesn't want you to be completely unbothered. If another man is clearly, visibly interested in her, and you sit there sipping your drink like you didn't notice, she registers that. And what she registers is not confidence. What she registers is he doesn't care enough to respond. The space between those two failures is where the real thing lives. You walk over, hand on her lower back, easy, natural, not a statement, just a presence. You look at the other man with the kind of calm that only comes from people who have nothing to prove. You might extend a hand. You might introduce yourself with a relaxed smile that communicates without a single aggressive word. I see you. She's with me. We both already know how this ends. Evolutionary psychologist Dr. David Buss found that women consistently rate what he calls proportional mate guarding as deeply attractive. The key word is proportional. Too much, and she feels like a possession. Too little, and she feels invisible to you. But that middle place, where you acknowledge the situation without being threatened by it, where you claim her without caging her, that is attractive on levels she may not even be consciously aware of. Here's the part she'd never say out loud. In that moment, she might feel something close to pleasure. Not because she wanted to make you jealous, but because the way you handled it told her everything she needed to know about your confidence, your investment in her, and your ability to lead without losing control. That combination hits something ancient and deep. Claiming versus caging. Most men never learn the difference. Now you have. Number 4. Handle something on her invisible list. Tell no one. The American Psychological Association's 2023 survey found that women report significantly higher chronic stress than men across every single measured category: work, household management, family logistics, emotional labor, scheduling, the mental architecture of keeping multiple lives running simultaneously. She is carrying a project management system in her head that never powers down. Most of it is invisible to you. Most of it goes completely unacknowledged. And she has accepted this mostly because what's the alternative? What she wants, what she will not say she wants because articulating it would itself be an item on the list, is for you to identify one thing she's been quietly worrying about and simply handle it. No announcement, no asking for credit, no, hey, I noticed you mentioned the car needed an oil change, so I took care of that. You're welcome. Just done. Quietly, completely. The faucet that's been dripping. Fixed by the time she gets home, the groceries she mentioned offhandedly 2 days ago, in the fridge when she opens it, the appointment she's been putting off making. Made. Researcher Eve Rodsky, in her landmark work on domestic labor, found that in most relationships, women carry roughly 70% of what she calls cognitive labor. Not just the tasks, but the remembering that the tasks exist. The exhaustion isn't physical, it's the relentlessness of being the only one who holds the whole picture in mind. When you take something off that picture without being handed it, when she comes home and realizes something is already finished and she didn't have to think about it for even 1 second, the relief is physical. And underneath the relief is something more significant. The feeling of being genuinely, attentively cared for. Not because the task was difficult, because the noticing was rare. She'll never ask you to do this because asking you is, by definition, more cognitive labor. The magic only exists in the initiative. And the men who master this, who become the one place she doesn't have to manage anything, become, over time, completely irreplaceable. Number 3. I told you this one was coming. I told you to pay attention. Here it is. She wants you to pursue her after you already have her. That's the whole thing. And the damage it causes when men stop doing it is so quiet, so gradual, so thoroughly invisible that most relationships don't even get a real ending. They just thin out until there's nothing left to hold. Think back to when you were chasing her. You texted first without deliberating. You planned things. You noticed what she wore and told her. Every interaction carried this implicit energy. Being near you is a privilege I have not taken for granted. She felt it. It was the reason she fell. Then you got comfortable, which is natural. Comfort is not the enemy, but somewhere between comfort and complacency, you stopped doing the things that told her she was still being chosen. Not because you stopped feeling it, because you assumed the work was finished. You had her. The pursuit was over. Dr. John Gottman, whose research has predicted divorce with over 90% accuracy, calls this the erosion of turning toward. His data shows that couples who eventually separated had a turning toward rate of just 33%. Couples who stayed together, who stayed in love, maintained above 80%. The difference wasn't passion or chemistry or compatibility. It was consistency. The small, repeated evidence of choosing each other. She doesn't need a grand gesture every week. She needs to feel, with some regularity, in some small, undeniable way, that if you met her today for the first time, you'd still pursue her. That she hasn't quietly become furniture in the life you've built. That the man who once couldn't wait to see her still exists somewhere inside the man who now sits next to her on the couch without looking up. She will never say, "I need you to chase me again." Saying that out loud feels to her like the most humiliating sentence in the English language. So instead, she goes quiet. She starts pulling back the investment she was making. She becomes slightly harder to reach. And by the time that distance is visible enough to name, it has usually already hardened into something that takes months to reverse, if it can be reversed at all. A text on a Tuesday that says nothing except, "I was just thinking about you," takes 4 seconds. A planned evening that she didn't have to organize or suggest communicates more than 100 routine, "I love yous," delivered on autopilot. It says, "I still see you. I'm still choosing you. The chase didn't end when I got you. It just changed shape." The men who keep pursuing their partners long after the relationship is official, those men don't become roommates. Those men don't get the slow, bloodless goodbye. Their partners don't fantasize about leaving because they already have everything they were looking for. Don't stop being the man who chose her. That man is who she fell in love with. Bring him back. Keep him around. Number 2, tell her what she specifically does to you, out loud. Most men believe that women want to be told they're beautiful, and they do. But your beautiful is the floor, not the ceiling. It's a tip that rounds up to the expected amount. It lands and disappears within seconds. What she actually replays at 2 in the morning, what she reads again in her phone with the screen brightness turned all the way down, is specificity. Raw, almost confessional specificity. Not you're beautiful. The way you tilt your head when you're working something out, "I lose my train of thought every time." Not "I'm attracted to you. I watched you walk across the room at that thing last month, and I forgot I was mid-sentence talking to someone else." Not "you look good. What you did with your hair this morning has been mildly ruining my concentration, and I'm slightly annoyed about it." The element that makes this land so hard is the quality of helplessness in it. She doesn't want a compliment delivered cleanly. She wants the evidence that her effect on you is slightly beyond your management, that your attraction to her is not a decision you're making. It's a condition you're living with. That she has genuinely, specifically disrupted something in you, and you're not even a little bit sorry about it. That's not performance. That's not a technique. If you actually feel it, and if you're here, you probably do, all you have to do is stop editing yourself before you speak. The thought forms. You've been censoring it because it feels vulnerable or excessive or strange to say out loud. Stop censoring it. Say the thought. Say the specific, slightly embarrassing, completely honest thought. That's the thing she'll remember when everything else fades. Number 1. Move her. I saved this for last because it consistently causes the strongest reaction, and because it's the behavior men are most likely to hesitate on. And that hesitation is exactly the problem. She wants you to physically guide her, confidently, without asking permission first, your hand finding her waist and steering her to the inside of the sidewalk, away from traffic, without breaking the conversation, your fingers closing around hers and pulling her in a different direction because you spotted something worth showing her, your palm at the small of her back as you guide her through a doorway, the quiet, sure pressure of your hands repositioning her, not aggressively, not as a performance, but with the calm certainty of someone who is present in his body and completely comfortable in his strength. A study published in Evolutionary Behavioral Sciences found that women rated confident, non-aggressive physical guidance among the top 5 indicators of a desirable partner, not because of the movement itself, but because of what the movement communicates underneath. I am here. I am paying attention. I am not afraid to take up space, and I want you inside that space with me. This works entirely outside of language. You cannot text it. You cannot explain it. It only exists in real time, in the specific electricity of physical proximity and the confidence to act within it without second-guessing yourself. She will never say, I wish you would just reach over and move me. But every time your hand finds her without hesitation, every time you pull her closer without explaining why, she makes a quiet, unconscious comparison. Every fictional character she's ever admired, every story she's ever gotten lost in, every passing thought she's never voiced, none of them win, because they aren't real. And you are standing right there, hand on her back, completely present, proving that reality is better than the version she imagined. 7 things, all of them real, none of them things she was ever going to tell you herself. The fact that you're still here, that you watched all of this, already says something. It says you're not the kind of man who assumes he's finished learning. You're not the kind who mistakes comfort for mastery. That quality alone puts you ahead of the vast majority of men she has ever encountered or will ever encounter. But knowing is only the beginning. I didn't make this so you'd have something interesting to think about. I made this so you'd do something different tonight, tomorrow morning. In the next quiet moment when you have a choice between playing it safe and doing something that actually makes her feel something real. Take the second option, every time, without hesitation. And if you want to understand the other half of this, because there is another half, there's something you need to see next. While you've been sitting here learning what she secretly wants, she has been running her own quiet evaluation, watching, calculating, and in many cases, she has already made her decision about you. The verdict exists. She's just not sharing it. What's waiting for you next is exactly that, the signs that she's already chosen you, already decided you're it, and why she hasn't said a word. Knowing what she wants is powerful, but recognizing that she's already given you the answer without speaking it, that's the difference between a man who's working for something and a man who's already won without realizing it. It's right there. Go watch it.